What's up, guys? This is Sean and welcome to another episode of the iherng podcast. And today we will read a question from email. This is from CH, right? Hi iherng, I am one of your fans that watch your YouTube channel of real estate in Malaysia. I am currently 23 and with a bit of saving. I have started looking into properties since July 2020 and it has been months, but I am still in a heavy dilemma of taking my first step. Not even sure if my loan will ever get approved or not. I just keep filtering different properties across different locations but unable to make up my mind. Do you have any advice to youngsters on buying their first home for investment purposes? Or do you have any recommendations that are more suitable for youngsters in the current generation? Definitely not dropping an email here just to get spoon-fed, but to gather more thoughts from professionals like you. Allow me to share more infos that I've gathered. So he shared a lot of project lah. So you have the Vertica, the Queens, Tryon, YOLO, Kuchai Central, Rihanna Dutamas, Ara Central, the Birch, Plaza. Wow, a lot lah. If you would like to share this topic on your YouTube channel, please avoid highlighting my email or just call me as anonymous. Too late. Then there's a next email to this. I came across another video called the Puchong Apartment Makeover. I believe the standard by that time you bought is around 300k, but for nowadays the minimum entry is really 400 to 500,000. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. So thank you very much for your precious time. Thank you. So if you miss his name in the front, so I think his surname is Ng lah. There's just so many Ngs, right? So thank you very much Ng for this email. I really appreciate it. And one thing I'm very happy about is I am reading a lot of late 20s. This one is early 20s, but among the youth, the 20 plus years old, right, are really getting into properties and it really motivates me to do more of such things lah. So I am very happy about it. So thank you very much. Then the email is generally talking about analysis paralysis, meaning overdoing on research. I guess you're not the only one. As the current generation are more educated, right? You guys know how to do comparison, know how to use the internet, know how to dig forums. Basically, you know everything about the projects, right? Just one thing you guys are not sure of is yourself. What do you like? What is your risk appetite like? When would you want the returns? How much return would you want? But of course, don't tell me everything good lah. So that's the ultimate question that I realized as well. And I figured out a rough framework of questions, right, to somewhat guide this process. Number one, how much can you afford? Let's say 500,000. Number two, what is your expected return? Then you gotta know what's the market rate like. Some people are very strict on cash flow. Some people are very hopeful on capital appreciation. Some are just blindly just do lah. So the market norm is often set by the interest rate of that time. Let's say now we take an average of 3.5%. It was 5%, which dropped, so very good for everyone. But I don't know when you will listen to this, but let's say 3.5% now. As long as your return can cover the installment, which is your ROI is around 3.5%, then you are kind of good to go. But some is like, no, I want 8%. God, 8% sure God, low cost lor. Yes, it's very high in rental returns and things like that, but in terms of moral and responsibility, then in terms of the return amount, then next would be your exit strategy. What's your game plan for this investment? Next would be risk. How much risk can you tolerate? Like let's say if the property is empty for the next 3 years, can you tolerate or not? Can you afford to change your lifestyles because you have to pay up this loan? The worst thing that can happen is you need to move in, right? So you stay inside the house. That would be the worst case scenario. Then maybe you have a house here already that you need to pay. Then you need to pay this one also. And because of this house, you cannot upgrade your car. You will need to drive your old car for the next easily 5 to 8 years. Then how stable is your job? Are you going to change your job soon? Or are you building your own business? Do you need cash flow? Is there an emergency fund available all the time? Are your parents healthy? Because a medical emergency can just happen like that. Are you planning to get married? So all this reflects on how much reserve you need lah. And that's also the main reason why I encourage people to start young. Because when you start young, it means also your parents are young. Then you don't have all this issue about marriage and things like that until you're a bit older lah. So I reflect back on how I bought my first home. I don't know whether a lot of people hear this before, but this is the story lah. I was an agent when I was 21, right? Then I made some commissions. Then I had around like 30,000 cash. And the only thing I knew before I buy a property is that everyone will need to pay 10% of the property. So max is around 300,000, right? So I know 300,000 is my cap. What can I afford in this 300,000? At that time, MRT was the thing. The construction line of MRT, right? They haven't even constructed, they were just drawing the lines. Then they will start building the stations. And one of the main stations that I was very familiar with is the Puchong line. So that time when I was studying A-levels and I was studying my degree, then my master's, right, I used the train a lot. I almost am living on the LRT stations already. So you can see the rental of the rooms around that area really is way higher than the rest. Hence, I decided, okay, in this new route of MRT, right, which property adjacent to it is around 300,000? And then I found this Puchong apartment, which is 300,000. Bottom floor is around 500,000 because it's a walkout apartment, so the higher floors are actually way cheaper lah. So to me, that's the only thing that I can afford. So I start calculating the rental. So the rental there at that time was around 1,000, and that time I could take a 35 years bank loan. So the installment plus maintenance, right, every month almost break even. Almost, which is like I need to pay up like 100 to 200 lah. So, and I'm totally fine with it. All people will want cash flow positive lah, this and that lah. To me, I am okay to pay 200. So my strategy was to just continue paying 200 every month. And years to come. So per year, let's say I pay 2,000 for, let's say make it 3,000 lah. 10 years is 30,000 lah. 30 years is 90,000 lah. Okay, so that's the amount that I fork out. But in 8 years time, so now it's around 8 years time already, the property has appreciated to that amount already. So now if I were to sell, I have made that amount of profit. But to me, now the rental has increased and every month I have positive cash flow instead. Then most of my friends will come to me, it's like, hey, you make a lot of money, meh? How much you need? 20%? Let's say 20% out of 300,000. So I make only 60,000, then minus off everything, maybe left 40,000 only. 40,000 in 8 years time, is it good or bad? It's totally up to you. Like if we were to just makan gaji, work for another company, right? Try and save and save and save. I don't think I can get that amount also. Then many may compare this to stocks, compare this to Bitcoin, compare this to anything else, right? To me, it's whatever you like, you invest. I like property, I understand property, hence almost all of my portfolio is in property itself. So I've also started some stock trading, some forex kind of thing, but I cannot focus on my work. When the share market make money, no mood to work. When the share market drop, I got no mood to work. So that affected my work. But if I want to invest in a property, right, as long as there's no tsunami of earthquake, right, the property will forever be there. So, and I will know certainly, as long as people staying inside, I am totally fine. And my strategy, I will just pay up 30,000 in 30 years. But in the end of 30 years, I will fully own this property that is maybe, let's put a conservative number to it. Let's say 300,000 to 400,000, okay? Very conservative. Do I make 100,000 then minus off the 30,000 that I paid to cover up everything? Not really also. Because this 400,000 in the end is all cash, fully owned by me. So 400,000, if I were to refinance, right, I can actually cash out this another 400,000. So if I were to sell this entire 400,000 and I'll get back, I will minus off the 30,000. So I will earn around 300,000 later when I'm retired. So that's my exit strategy. So imagine if I have 1, 2, 3 such properties, right? 30 years, millionaire already. So that's my game, my strategy of property investment. I don't really need like the super lucrative, like 12%, 15%. If I were to go for that, I will go for commercial properties really. I will go for land. I will go for those mega structure factories like if I can afford. Those returns are insane because it's dictated by market dynamics very fast. So before COVID, all make money one. Once COVID happened, everyone bankrupt. So that's the risk factor. To me, residential, you know, like that, for the next 30 years, okay ma. Hence, property investment to me, it's a well-preserving tool. I don't mind working hard, go out and collect more money, figure out how to make money via businesses or via podcasting or via YouTube channel, right? Try to make money so I can buy more property and then make them self-sustaining. So that's my strategy. Some people use property to make money where they go and get the property, then they sublet out, run an Airbnb business. Then some rich business people, they just buy and keep, not doing anything to it because 30 years later, they rather have their savings in the form of buildings instead of cash because cash depreciates across time. In conclusion, those are the questions that you really need to know and only you know yourself the best. If you are not ready, you know what? After I really buy this property, then in the end, I lose money, right? Everyone will laugh at me. Screw it. This is the part where accountability for your decision comes into play. I made one very, very serious mistake in one of the investment. Hence, that was the motivation for me to start this channel. It was really very bad. Everyone was laughing at me, but it's my mistake. Everyone will come and like, I told you already lah, don't buy such a big house lah, you can afford me, things like that. To me, it was my risk tolerance. I was risking almost everything times double because I have confidence in myself. I somewhat know that I can withstand such a mistake at 25 rather than 45. I don't have a family to feed, I got zero commitments, and it's the time to take risks lah. And everyone is different, no right, no wrong, totally up to you. But what I really like about what your research is, right, I will add on the existing rental rates and the years of completion for the apartments. So some are new, some are existing, you can't really compare. So there's still a micro nuance between existing building and new buildings lah. So cut to the chase, I think you can start looking into areas. You can start zooming into areas first. For example, you follow the infrastructure plan. Where is the nearest MRT 3? Because the government just announced MRT 3 like a day ago. MRT 3 will be going up. Then you start searching online. There will be maps on where's the highest possibility of stations in the MRT track, right? Then you start looking into it. With my budget right now, what can I afford around that track? That's something that I would do if I'm at your state right now. Because if you're super loaded, right, your game plan and strategy will be absolutely different. And with that, thank you very much for the email. I hope that somewhat answered. I kind of like shared like my entire thought process when I was 21. Yeah, when I was 21. Wow, really very long already. Anyway, thank you very much again. For those who still have any questions regarding real estate, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram iherng, and I will see you on the next one. Ciao.